Want to rise above what holds you back? These are the stories of those fighting that battle. It might also be the story of you. I'm Dan Waldschmidt, author of Edgy Conversations and strategist of billion-dollar companies all over the world. This is Mark Menard, author of The Story of You, the guy who knows a thing or two about never giving up. You're listening to Elevating Beyond. Let's get started.
Yeah, here we go.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Elevating Beyond with a two-word mission statement: change lives.
Nice.
Like my radio voice right there?
Yes.
And
Change lives.
I'm here. Look, I love it. I love how this always happens, just getting awesome people to connect with. Have here live in the studio, I have my man Damon Williams. Don't worry, I won't screw it up.
It's okay.
They're used to me messing up.
That's
but
all right.
Look, Damon, first of all, as a comedian, performed last night here in Columbus at Easton, the Funny Bone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said the Laugh Stop. What was that place in California?
Oh, wow.
The Funny Bone did two shows. The one I went to crushed it. Is also performing there tomorrow and Sunday, right?
No.
As we're recording it. Wait,
two
tomorrow
shows.
is Sunday.
Yeah, so 2 tonight, 1 tomorrow.
Got it.
Yeah, they run you through the show. So I started Thursday, and I do 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. Get 6 shows in. Big, nice, crowded shows, man. Thank you, Columbus, if anybody's watching. And I was glad because this is my first time headlining that club here in Columbus. I've done it on what they call Urban Night. You know, they used to have a Urban Night. Well, they still have it, I suppose. It's a Wednesday, and that's when they...
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of like Black Comedy Night. So I did a bunch of those. I'm like, well, I'm not just urban. I'm not just black comedy. I want to be on the weekend. So eventually things worked out, and now here I stand.
Yeah. Well, also, without giving any introduction at all, see how awesome I am as a host. Just like this Damon, but going through your stuff too. You hosted at the Apollo after Steve Harvey, right?
Yeah, I did. I was one of the runner-ups. Well, what they did, they had a nationwide search for Steve's replacement.
Okay.
And they were going around to comedy clubs in different places, and I got selected to be in the top 3. And of those 3, they allowed each one of us to host 4 episodes.
Wow.
And so, after the 4 episodes, they decided to go with Rudy Rush, who was already the host of the Apollo Kids section on the show. It was basically his job not to lose.
Yeah.
So he did a great job, and he and I met on that set and became friends. We like brothers to this day.
That's cool.
From being competitors for that show.
Really?
Yeah, but it was a big thing because back then, Steve Harvey had just gone off to the Kings of Comedy. It was prior to him getting his TV show. So, whoever replaced Steve and whoever hosts the Apollo, it was legendary.
Yeah.
So even to have just the 4 episodes really was one of the highlights of my career.
To be up there at all, yeah.
Definitely.
That's no joke.
Yeah, because I had to do the show once before I got to host it as a performer. And it's, it's nerve-wracking because they come to boo. They raise their kids to boo. They come out, when they slap the babies in New York, they boo, they don't whine.
Yeah.
They come to Apollo ready to boo, but if you're funny, they're with you. So what I did, and I'll tell young comics to do this, anytime you have an important event or engagement, a lot of times performers like to have a mystique and hide from the audience and come out and ta-da, have this big grand entrance. And that's cool if you're famous and notable and you need security and all that. But if you're up and coming and you're trying to, endear yourself to this audience, what I did was I went outside because they had the audiences lined up. They always do this for every TV taping. They load the audience in way before the show. The people some of them might be irritable by the time they get in because it was summer and it was hot. So they were lined up around the Apollo Theater all across 125th Street around the corner. I went outside and I spoke to everybody in line. And I had this chant I do, and I taught them how to do it, just 5 people at a time. And so the people at the front of the line are learning this chant, and the people behind me what is he having them do? And I went down the road till I met every person in that line.
That's great.
When it came time for me to come on stage, they were all friends, and they were happy to see me.
You've already built, and that helped. Even when I'm speaking and stuff at events, I like to show up early. I do the same thing. I like to talk.
Right.
To first of all, I just care, and then you kind of build that. And sometimes I'll ask if it's on with business leadership, and I'm like, what are you really struggling with right now? And they may open up, and I may flip some of my thing to that, no one, but it's
cater to that person.
Yeah, and part of it, honestly, it helps me. Like we all get nervous still in excitement. It's kind of the same feeling.
Indeed.
And talking like ahead of time sort of helps me,
It
like
breaks the ice.
unnerve, and it makes you, so then you're not just getting up there like you said.
Cold turkey and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to do that with the cameras rolling and Apollo's reputation, so I diffused that situation. And it freaked out the producers and everybody, the whole crew, because, all right, this chant I go, da-da-da-da, and the people go, ooh, ooh, and I say, and you don't stop. They say, and you don't quit. So I came out on the stage and I told the people, I said, look, I'm going to do this at the top of the show. If y'all don't do it, I'm going to look like a fool on TV, so don't let me down. So I went down the road teaching them that. So then I came out and I'm like, Damon, blah, blah, blah. And I said, da-da-da-da, and the whole Apollo said, ooh, ooh. And I was like, and you don't stop, and you don't quit. Welcome to Showtime at the Apollo.
Smart.
And so they all wanted to hear. So it's like, how did they know that? I taught them. I went and told them. Yeah.
I love it. Had anyone else really done that before?
Not to my knowledge.
That's good.
But I always give that advice to people. It don't have to be a chant or anything, but if you got something in your act that you want people to respond to, and they don't know you and they don't know it, you got to teach them.
Yeah,
and the
and
way to
just
do that is to
connecting with them ahead of time too.
Yep, it was a beautiful thing. Because I was cracking jokes, and I had a couple of bottles of water. I passed out a little water. I'm telling you, I was like I was running for office.
It's smart though, because a lot of people, it takes more work. You show up early, you're doing that, but you put in that extra effort, and it's like a win-win for you and for them. Yeah, and it builds that connection.
Indeed.
Yeah. So with Kings of Comedy, I saw that. Did you do some work with Kings of Comedy too?
Yeah, that's another Steve Harvey story, but more so D.L. Hughley's. His road manager recommended me to Walter Latham, who produced the Kings of Comedy tour. And what Walter's concept was, he was going to have a local comedian open. Well, let me give you the backstory. The original Kings of Comedy went out. It was, I think it was Guy Torrey as the host, maybe, and then Seth the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, and Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey was closing the show, okay, which was kind of tricky because Bernie Mac is so dynamic, and he was more beloved because of his movie roles. And then Cedric was a beast at the time, and still is, of course, with stand-up. So there were some cities where, it didn't go according to plan, and I had a couple of incidents where, like, Steve got into some altercations with the audience. So he decided to revamp the tour and host it, because he's known as a host. He's a masterful MC. He came out to host it, and then they added D.L. Hughley as another act. So that's when the tour really took off. That being said, Steve Harvey didn't want to come out hosting to a cold room. So they were going to hire a local comedian to go out, do 7 to 10 minutes to get the crowd seated and blah, blah, blah. And then Steve would come out and start the actual Kings of Comedy. Well, they couldn't find consistently good comedians for a show in that magnitude, because we're talking about NBA arenas.
Yeah.
You go up there and you could make it worse trying to start the show off, so.
It was no joke.
Exactly. So they started with, they gave me Detroit as my first opportunity to try it. And Walter Latham said, if you do well in Detroit, I'll give you Chicago, your hometown, and maybe a couple other dates. And so it went well, and he did that also with the comedian Mike Britt, who is from New York, who goes by Mike B sometimes. Mike had a couple of dates, and I had a couple of dates originally. And then he decided, look, you guys are my two main guys, and he split the tour in half between the two of us. Well, Mike is a New York guy, and back then this was like 2000, 99, 2000. So it was just the edge of the the big baggy clothes in the hip hop era, and the jerseys were still in. He used to wear like baseball jerseys and basketball jerseys, and he would wear these to the show. Now the Kings of Comedy, if you've seen it, they all have on suits. I was known for wearing suits already. Yeah. So I fit right in with that, and Mike, he kept kind of coming to the thing with suits. And I don't know what happened with him and Walter, but he eventually. Walter told him, that's it, and he gave me the rest of the shows.
Really?
So I finished out the entire tour, and that was momentous. So I ended up doing 30 dates with those guys. But it all came about because I said a guy named Alvin Morris, which was D.L. Hughley's road manager at the time, he recommended me for the first one, and then I just earned my way for the rest of them. But I already knew all the guys, because they all come through Chicago. There was a legendary comedy club called All Jokes Aside, and it was the #1 urban African-American upscale comedy club in the country, and there weren't many around the country, but that one was the #1. And I got a chance to, not only that's where I learned how to do stand-up, because I went there for my first open mic, and I also got to watch the established headliners every week. I sit back there and I have my video camera and I tape some of the shows and I watch and I just it was like going to university, you know what I'm saying? And
but see, like, there's so many, everyone listening, because there's so many different entrepreneurs, artists, speakers, anyone going after a dream, like, that's the side of it that they don't see, that, like, true, like, honest obsession that it takes to, like, be surrounded in the craft and study it, and then you do it your own way, but you're like, you're learning, like, you're becoming it, but it's not just people like, I'm just gonna magically become talented without putting in.
And nowadays, that's the attempt, and some people actually have achieved it, or they become notable or have notoriety without putting that type of work in because of social media. You know, they get the following before they get the craft. So, you know, you got and that's a shortcut. But a lot of guys.
But I bet you anyone that's really made it, though, they still have probably put in way more time, even behind the scenes, that people think like they just did one post.
Right. Oh no. And that's what I was about to say. A lot of the traditional comics who do stand up like myself kind of disparage the social media phenoms, plus they're selling tickets and they're becoming famous and they're getting a lot of money too. But you can't knock them for that, because this is the era that they came about. You know, our era was, you know, if you got on HBO or Comic View or Comedy Central, then you would be able to work and do colleges or do clubs and eventually do concerts or whatever. But now all a person has to really do is to get famous on Instagram or Facebook. But my thing of it is, though, I still give them credit for it, because, you know, we were talking about 60-second clips. Before they started doing expanded clips on Instagram, the IGTV, you had to figure out how to get people's attention and make it entertaining in a 60-second format. And that takes dedication. And I'm sure like you say, your first video didn't go viral. You know, so they had to figure out the mentality, because it's a psychology behind viral videos. You can't make something go viral. I always laugh when people send me something to my inbox. Here, let's make this go viral, pass it around. That's not how viral works.
No, you never know what you have to keep doing. You have to, if you're just doing something just for it to go viral, or just for the fame, or just for the money, not that there's anything wrong with any of those, you're never gonna make it.
Exactly.
It's like, because you gotta put out 20,000, you're gonna give up. Like, you know what I mean? Because
you'll be discouraged.
Once you go if that's all you're going, like, those that do, it's like you keep doing and doing and doing, and when you're not even noticing, you're so caught up in the grind, someone will reach out to you and be like, hey, did you know the thing you did from 10 years ago that just got reposted today went viral, and now you're an overnight success. Like, you've been doing it 27 years.
27 years.
Some will go viral. People be like, this dude just came out of nowhere. No, he didn't.
Yeah, maybe it's this podcast. Once this hits, I'm off to the races. You
That's
never
right.
know. You never. Let's elevate.
Let's do. I want to make sure. I don't even care. I'll just keep this in. Make sure something's right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that would be crazy if we were sitting here the whole time.
For some reason,
off screen.
No, it was record. For some reason, I have a backup in my head. And I like to just leave this stuff in. Everyone to know. I was thinking, for some reason in my head, what if I didn't hit the record button? But we're good.
Cool.
But you know, also, like, I really like to talk about this too, because you were looking at the difference of the crowd last night too, and thinking, okay, kind of looking from above and you were saying too before, when it was like the more urban audience, and you're like, but I'm not just in one niche. I'm funny is funny, but I get people have different people that like different humor, but also something you were talking about on stage too, and I love that when you were just like, look, like, everyone just like chill out. Like, I'm about to say a lot of offensive things, but it's funny. Like, I'm a comedian, like.
And it's not even so much offensive. It's what is offensive now has changed, because there's such a sensibility and a sensitivity, and rightfully so, because some things in the past were being, across the line or whatever. But you have to have nuance when you have like I have my core audience. Like, if I did a room full of black people, I know I can refer to certain things that the majority of black people realize or know. So if I have a room that is culturally diverse, then I can't use those terminologies or slangs because it's not relatable.
But it's not necessarily like a racial. It's more of like,
It's experience.
Who knows what? Yeah, what you
exactly.
grew up knowing. But like comedy, a lot of time, like bridges the gap between like humor. And like people, when you can laugh about stuff and not take everything so serious.
And that's my
that's what life is
my
more.
slogan. That's my philosophy. Laugh tonight, be serious tomorrow. So that it's like it diffuses that whole cancel Me Too hashtag, movement. And no disrespect to the Me Too movement, because it was definitely deserved.
But I get what you're saying.
But what I'm saying
though.
is, everybody's looking to cancel people now. That's what I meant, the cancel culture that we're in.
Yeah.
So one word, about one topic, like it could be gay or straight, it could be political, it could be Republican or Democrat, and all of a sudden you've turned these people off. I say, look, we're not here for that.
Calm down.
We are here to laugh. This is the Funny Bone in particular. I was at the Funny Bone, and I'm like, let's just laugh tonight, be serious tomorrow. And the more I've been doing it lately, the applause has grown over the last few months since the whole cancel culture took place, because people are fed up with people telling us what we should be able to laugh at and what's right or wrong. Now, mind you, as I said, I've never tried to offend anyone, even if I say something that is off color or whatever.
But
it's done with a tact.
Supposed to be shot. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not out. There are shocking comics. There are cringe comics who do things specifically to offend or touch your sensibility in that way. That's not what I do. But certain things people might feel a little edgy about. So I did a joke about Catholics, which they could have gotten highly offended.
Yeah.
But
it was
didn't.
a joke.
And
it was hilarious.
And there's truth behind it.
And there is truth behind it.
So that's the key. And if you come to a comedy show, you got to have an open mind. Now, if you happen to be scrolling through a timeline and you see a joke that offends you based on the fact that you didn't intend to see that, that's a different thing. But if you buy a ticket and come to a room where a man is standing on stage, or a woman, and exposing their humor and their sensibilities and things of that nature, you got to keep an open mind. And the joke ain't about you. Like I said, the joke more than likely was written before you got there, so it had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, can I say something too, though? If you're scrolling and someone says something that offends you, you don't have to you don't have to watch it.
Scroll past.
And who the hell has time to write a 5-page blog on how? Because do they really know? Does anyone know anyone enough to? It's like you're watching a 30-second. I've had people, I personally believe in God. I don't preach down people's throats. I believe in God. I share it in my story if they want.
Indeed.
I've had people attack me that are like, you're going to burn in hell for that. And I've learned now, I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, you can't.
Because you don't know any of if you knew what I really, and I don't need to prove.
You can't. And
then who has time?
And you're exposed,
do that?
and it's a natural instinct to be vulnerable to criticism, or someone that totally gets you all the way wrong, and they try to impose their views on you, and you want to just to set them straight, just to make it clear that that's not who I am, or that's not my stance, or you have it confused on what you perceive this to be, your perception, you took it wrong, or you don't agree. That's all fine.
That's cool. Yeah, we can respect. Or some of them don't even want to agree.
But it's such a negativity in the social space right now, because everybody wants to be critical, they want to be negative, and they want to bring people down. And some people, the trolls, that's what they live for that. So if you engage them,
they're the noisy. I was gonna say, I don't think it's as negative as people think. It's the negative people tend to be the noisiest.
True.
It's the same with the news.
And they get the most reaction.
Because in real life, it's not the interactions that the way the news is. And I'm not saying stuff that's happening isn't really happening.
Right.
But that's not every second in the day-to-day, the way they make. And the noisiest are so loud, but there's so much.
I mean, like you say, people and social media inherently is good and are good. But like you say, the negative stands out, the critical stands out, and you get more, they seem like they get more reaction and more laughs from tearing a person down versus uplifting a person. Like you might say something positive and get 22 likes, but then you might say so-and-so bombed last night, ha ha ha, and everybody's like, yeah, I saw that, it was terrible, ha ha, funny that happened, so.
Yeah.
And that's the part I'm talking about, the reaction that you get. So, but as a person that's, in the public sphere like you are, once you put something out there, you just gotta be steadfast in believing in what you put out is and your intention is good.
Yes.
And then, you can't get caught up in the noise, because if you sit there and respond to some of that stuff, it'll have you heated.
It will. Not only that, it'll get And then what is even worse, it gets you to start overthinking about everything you're gonna do, and you lose. We were talking about it last night, like that authenticity that
Indeed.
is. And I'm not. It's a lifelong journey. I'm learning. Like if I really do something wrong,
Right.
I'll look back. I'll be like, crap. Like owning a company, I'm like, man, I that was wrong.
Right.
I want to make this better.
Yeah.
But if it's the whole walking on eggshells, or if I'm making a joke about, like my wife's from Sierra Leone, if I'm joking about, I didn't know anything about the way black women's hair were, the twist.
You were talking.
And someone's like, this, they play a clip of, he didn't know about black, this guy's, I'd just be like, no, I'm not. Like,
Right.
what is your intent when you're doing that stuff the right way, you know?
It's just, like I say, you got to navigate it, and it does make you take a beat because the cancel culture is so prevalent. Luckily for me, I don't answer to any type of corporate structure, so I was associated with the Tom Joyner Morning Show for the last 7 or 8 years. That has ended, and I still didn't let my personal social media be dictated by that. But on the same token, like when we are on the air, we might want to talk about something that happened at Walmart, okay? But you can't say Walmart because they might be a sponsor.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I'd say a big box store, a big box department store, you know, and people get you're talking about Walmart.
Yeah.
This is just an example, Walmart. But you know, we couldn't.
Let me break for our today's sponsor,
today's sponsor,
Walmart.
the neighborhood store, and I'm a shareholder. But but you know,
I get what you're saying.
Now I have the freedom, you know, and that's why I have the disclaimer at the beginning of the show, so nobody leaves there and wants to try to tell the club never book this guy again, and you know he talked about white people or he talked about gay people or whatever. I try to diffuse that but if you don't like what I do, then just don't come back. You know.
Yeah, and you're joking. Yeah.
And I'm joking, but at least now I have the freedom to say that. See, when you have a power structure that you answer to, then you can't be your true authentic self.
Yeah.
Now I still have tact, and I'm very sensitive to. I have a son that's 27 years old, so he's in the millennial, and I don't even use the term millennials, but his generation is more in tune to personal humanity. So if a person wants to identify as a female and they were born a male, that's that person's human right, the basic bare human right to be who they are. Yeah. So you cannot offend. He told me, that was the state, he said, it's okay to joke about anything, just try not to offend a person's humanity. And that put me in a whole other lane because I come from a generation that was more misogynistic, more homophobic. And it was the norm because they were the minority and they didn't have a voice, so you could easily talk about gays or talk about women. I mean, if you look at comedy like in the 40s and 50s and 60s, every joke was my wife, she's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I smack her around at the house, you know. And women's
like,
issues.
Dude said like to the moon, Alice.
Yeah, every week he was gonna punch his wife to the moon. And it was like it was a tagline.
Like the studio audience is like laugh. That's like a 50s.
And you can't be punching people to the moon. One of these days, Alice, right in the kisser. You know, I'm a pop you one, you know. I mean, all the comedians, my wife, take my wife, please, all that. So now women have, become more empowered. And it's a shame, it's 50 years after the honeymooners that this whole Me Too thing had to surface to give women just the equality that they're seeking in pay and, you know, not being harassed and not being viewed as sexual objects. And that's taken away from their humanity. So when you think about a person's humanity, when you think about the homeless guy on the street, you know, and people are like, man, get a job, you know, I know you're only gonna take my money and buy drugs or whatever. Yeah, but the $2 you gave him, maybe he needs that to get through the day. Or, you know,
that's
let him,
the way I
you know
look
what I
at
mean?
it too. Worst case scenario, like I'm looking at like this dude, no matter what, isn't in a good
He did not,
spot.
when he was a child, he did not say, I'm gonna grow up and be this guy with the sign.
Yeah.
You know, some things happen and transpire. Now, of course, you know, we know that drug addiction and drug abuse and things are first of all, it can be a disease.
For sure.
And sometimes it's not even a matter of choice once you get hooked or whatever. So, you know, you can't say that. So, or it might be a guy that's an alcoholic. Okay, let's say something lighter because people, you know, they still have the stigma with drugs. And drugs is, you know, it's designed to take over your life like that. But the guy, he wants a beer. You know, it's a hot summer day. He don't have money on a job. He has some bad luck. It's not going to hurt you, first of all. So if you're giving with the spirit of what the intent is, which is just to help a person's humanity get through the day, then that's what you should be doing, you know, so.
On the side of grace, that's the way I look at it. I'm like, I'm not going to help. if I help everyone and I'm bankrupt, I can't help anyone.
Can't pour from an empty cup.
But if I'm in a place where I can, I'm going to go on the side of grace, and hey, maybe they'll do something good with it, maybe they won't.
You
but
never know.
I'll just do the best I can.
I mean, it's a guy, every time I do this show in Chicago, it's a TV show called Windy City Live, and the guy has no legs. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a hardship. I don't care
I know,
if there
right?
are people that are thriving with no legs.
Doesn't that
you
make
gotta
us
be,
like want to shut up? Or
man, you
got to
be really determined to come out the house with no legs and sit on the ground and ask for money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's scam or not. You know, so that's his humanity. So whenever I see him, I slip him a $5 or whatever, you know, because he has no legs.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And exactly, do it. And also with the whole Me Too millennial, like I work, like my company, I have individuals with developmental disabilities, but every year they'll have some new state terminology that you have to, and I go to those, and at a point I'm just like, will you shut up? Because so many people, they say all this perfect stuff,
Right.
but they're not doing anything to help anyone.
Gotcha.
And I've had them try to attack me, and we run like one of the best programs because we care. And I might not use I'm like, I call so-and-so by her name.
Okay.
They're like, it's not mentally retarded. It's not. I'm like, her name's Erin. I got
Right.
to know her as a person.
How about that?
And I look at that the same as like a gay person. Like I meet this dude I know named John. He's gay. I call him John.
John is
like,
John.
There's
Yeah.
gay people that are idiots. There's gay people that are really cool, good people.
Right. And that's
there's
for any
straight people
category.
that are idiots. So humor also, if it's funny, it's
Right.
funny, and it's supposed to cross the edge of like stuff with, you know,
I mean,
there's funny stuff about Hitler, and it's like
there's jokes out there for that.
it's like dark, but if
Right.
it's funny and you're not truly trying to like oppress,
Right.
you're not even meaning this as like, it's just like it's funny.
Yeah,
It's just,
and that's
like,
the whole, and that's the beauty of it, because privately, people laugh at some of the most dismal, dark things and most inappropriate things. And if you feel in a comfort zone with the person next to you, you'll say some racial things or some ignorant things. My job is to be able to tap into that and give that communal experience to a room full of people that has a commonality. So that's why I started off with laugh tonight, be serious tomorrow. Every joke might not work for every person in this room, but believe me, my intent is just to have a good time and make people laugh. You know, so if you come from that place, then you can say some crazy stuff. And I'm not over the edge, and it's some things that you might say. So it's simple things like politically. You know, if I'm in Ohio and I have a multicultural audience, and the first two shows, it was probably only 30% African American. The rest are maybe white and a few Hispanics, maybe Asian, but predominantly white people. And we assume naturally that more of the white people voted for Trump than the black people, okay? But I'm still gonna do my Trump jokes in front of white people in Ohio, but I'm gonna do it in such a way that they're gonna laugh at it too.
Yeah. People need to calm. Also, here's another thing I look at too is, instead of everyone tearing each other down, the Democrats, I'm even whatever had the impeachment, I'm looking at this too is, don't be like, we won you. We still need to unite.
We have to.
We still need to be like, look, but let's still come together. Like that's what this country's like. My wife's from Sierra Leone. I told you that a lot,
Right.
and she's like, when you hear people complaining about stuff, she's like,
They have no idea.
they have no, even the worst ghetto here, like where you're born. Yes, it's hard as but you can call 911 and an ambulance shows up.
Right.
Like the little village where she was and all that. I spent time in Sierra Leone where it's beautiful, the beaches, but I also watched a little girl, a mom's holding her screaming, she died. And I'm like, what's going on? The guy that was with me was like, stay back there, she might have. And I just hear this mom screaming.
Right, and there's no help, there's no resources.
And they're carrying her, and I'm like, what are they gonna do? And they're like, they're probably gonna go burn. And I'm that kind of clicked. I'm like, man, pretty much anywhere in America, at least you can dial 911. It may take longer to get, but you can
still, or you can be somebody can
I'm like,
take
they
you.
don't have. In my head, I was thinking, wait, I'm like, wait, there's no.
Wow. And so we take that for granted.
Yeah. So like a lot of the, and please, I'm not like going against the Me Too. That just keeps a lot of the people that are just.
That's why you just say cancel culture.
Just I don't have any other word to like about all the stuff. I'm not saying these aren't.
I'm just chilling. So anyway, and now the viewers will trip on that, but you get it though, right? That puts it in perspective. It's like, come on, man, we live in a great place, and it's crazy that we can't all come together. But in the room, in a comedy club, like I said, it's everybody in this room, and we're all together. And I say during the show, and I say, this is America. See how we all laughing, and we've come together, and we can do this until Election Day. That's when we go in our little corners and our little booths and decide who we want to vote for and not who against. And that's what this political system is set up for, to be honest, to kind of divide us and have us, at each other. It wasn't intended to be that way, but the way it's set up, it's become that way.
It doesn't need to be. Yeah, the beautiful thing, too, that's what my wife mentions, too. She's like, but every 4 years you get to re-elect, you get a revote. Like, you don't have some dictator for 30 years. Yeah. And the fact that we do have some types of checks and balances that can impeach someone if they really are doing is what makes America. And when everyone gets too divided about it, it's like, really... I mean, half the time, I don't even have time to waste time arguing on half that crap because I'm living... Look, I've had Democrats, Republicans, none of them came and worked 100-hour weeks for me and built my business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, they came and they went, and I continue to work my butt off.
And that's the thing about this current era we're in. I mean, whether you like the guy at the top or not, what's your day-to-day experience with life? And this not just now. I mean, every administration prior to this, your life don't change on January 20th when the guy comes in office. It doesn't automatically stop your bills. It doesn't help your paycheck. Now, some of the policies eventually will kick in. Like when Obama came in, the recession was there, and eventually the recession went away. But before him,
Obama came in. People forget. People so easily forget that when Bush, I'm not getting political, so don't write me all this.
Right.
I don't.
We're not.
Do it if you want. I don't care, but realistically, George W. Bush, who actually was at an event with my man Dave Ramsey, had him speak there. I met his wife. She was funny.
Right.
But I don't know him as a person, but I know when he left office, it was like, here you go, Obama.
Man.
Have at it, my man. It's tanked, recession, war. Hee-haw! Like, here you go.
I'm off to the farm.
Not only like is Obama coming in as like the first African American president in history.
Right.
Like that's just a little weight on your. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And
and then on top of that, but
with all the problems
when he
intact.
finished, the recession had flipped. And was changed. And I was thinking in my head, like, and also gas prices were like $10 a gallon then. When Obama's, no one mentioned any of that. They got all stuck on Obamacare.
And we've forgotten that people were losing jobs by the thousands on a daily basis. Because I used to do jokes about it. I'm like, anybody here hate your job? And the people would clap. I'm like, you better quit, because nowadays jobs are hating people back. So they would get a laugh out of that because it was so prevalent. Now I'm not here trying to expound on, because it was some things he could have done better, of course. No, and we're not even
we're not
here nor there.
I don't know who you vote. This is why this is two people just having a conversation.
Right. Indeed. So, but what our original point was, don't get too caught up in the guy or the administration or the policies or the Republican or Democrat Party, because what your day-to-day life is what really matters.
And that's what you're in control of.
And that's all you can deal with. And work ethic, and in a place like this with so much opportunity. I mean, I told you a story earlier. I have a brother who spent 20 years in prison, and now he's a self-employed contractor for his own truck. And that's because he was determined. I mean, he had help along the way. I helped him smooth some of the things. But if a guy can come out from prison and now be an independent contractor and raise enough money to buy his own truck and become an independent contractor, self-employed entrepreneur, you can too.
Yes.
And now some people don't have all the benefits, but it's like we said, it boils down to what your internal drive is. You got to see something better for you, or see yourself better than you are, to get where you want to be. So I had always had an internal self-esteem. I remember being in 4th grade, and I'm sitting around the students, and the kids are goofing off and all this, and I just started daydreaming. I was like, one day I want to be able to be riding around in limousines and, you know, going around the country and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know what method. I mean, it could have been, I could have struck oil or, you know, hit the lottery, whatever. But I felt like in my life, at some point, I felt that I was destined or determined to do these things. And now that I have the opportunity, I never ride around limos, but, you know, I'll take an Uber, I'll drive in a car. But I could, you know, and I've had that, I've been afforded that. But it was
You're not trying to do it and get like a picture for Instagram. Anyone that has money never does with the stacks of cash.
And it's funny too, because that's what the thing, like they had this meme going around with I guess it's Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, and it's like not a Gucci belt in sight, because people with wealth don't flaunt their wealth, and then people that don't have wealth aspire to wealth, and then when they get something that shows they have achieved that, they want to show it. But the funny thing is, it's kind of backwards, because if you get rich and you don't buy expensive things, then what's the purpose of getting rich? You know, to an extent. So it's kind of tricky.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, you should have nice things anyway.
Of course.
But you know,
you're working your butt off. Like, enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Indeed. But you know, so you see him like, they say so and so's a billionaire and he drove a Honda Civic for 30 years. So why? Why the hell would you do that? Get you a nice car.
That works man. And I'm all about do what makes you happy. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Like do what makes you happy. Yeah.
That's overdoing
it. If he didn't care, like he probably has a private jet and a bunch of other stuff that isn't, and it's for like, but it's him and her. Like, be you. Like that makes you happy, but you don't have to live to someone else's
at all. And
reputation.
See, we've come to this social media thing, because fame is such an addictive thing. That's why people aspire through social media to get more followers and more likes, because it affords you certain things. But what people don't understand is once they get there, you lose your anonymity. And anonymity is way more valuable than notoriety. People don't understand that. So I'm glad that I'm kind of under the radar, where I can still go to the local grocery store or go with my son and sit and have a bite. And I still have people come up and say, hey, I enjoy your work, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's not a security detail.
Like everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. And so
not yet.
You have to watch what you, well, I mean, I'm not dispelling it, but you got to watch what you wish for.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the money than over the fame. I'd rather be rich than famous. Like if I could invest in something that took off and nobody know who I am, then I can go in and out, because people are like, well, you know, you get in all the clubs free and people recognize you and they're nice to you. Yeah, well, they do that to people with money too, if you just pay for it. So, you know.
Influence. Yeah. It's more like influence and purpose over, if the fame comes with it, that's fine, but you're not trying to.
I don't aspire to that.
Yeah.
You know? And I've seen a lot of people that I know a lot of famous people. Like I literally have been involved with a lot of famous people, and I've seen what their lifestyle is, some of them. And it also depends on how you handle it. Like if you seclude yourself and make yourself so elusive, then people clamor for it. But if you expose yourself and make your life an open book, then people are like, I knew that already. You know, that type thing. So it's all how you handle it. But I've seen it change people. Like a couple of my friends, even from Chicago, have gone to Los Angeles and, got on, and then, for a while there, they get a little weird, and then they come back to being, the person that you know at their core. The other thing about success,
they come back though.
Success, and I say success, notoriety, wealth. Sometimes the person that you were before you attain these things is just magnified when you get it.
Yeah.
So if you were a nice guy already, you're gonna just still be a nice guy. Some of the nicest people I know are the biggest. Like,
Me too.
I had an interaction with Robert De Niro. Very, very humble. Like, it was a big party back in the day. Quincy Jones had won an Oscar, and comedian Michael Collier took me to this party. And it was the party the most concentrated gathering of celebrities I've ever been around.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised which ones were kind of standoffish and which ones were like, super nice and nice. So another good example.
I've had some experience.
A good example back in the late 80s.
But Robert De Niro was just...
Yeah, he was very, he was approachable,
Yeah.
Shook hands, thank you for, compliment, blah, 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 blah. And the other people in the room, not so much, and I'll leave it at that. But
I heard that about Keanu Reeves too. I heard he's a good dude.
Oh, he seemed like it. He seemed like he's just a regular dude. Because even in his acting, he still seems like he's just dude.
I heard he goes up on the set, is shaking everyone. And the thing that people don't get is that humility before honor. People, I'm sorry, my wife is calling. I'm gonna take this on the show. she doesn't call 100 times a month. I'm probably in trouble for something. She doesn't know
And you don't normally do this at the house on the
I'm
weekends.
sorry.
Yeah.
Hello, hey honey, we're in the middle of a show. Hello.
I know
Hello?
He better answer the damn phone.
Uh-oh. I probably should have been doing something that I was supposed to do.
Let me make sure my wife's not looking for me right now.
We're just gonna make the rest of the show of interrupted phone calls.
Two guys with their wives.
I don't let my woman do anything. I'll be in the behind the seat crying. Hey, please, why you're taking the show over.
Bang, zoom to the moon. Right.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on, but she was calling a lot, and I'm sorry, honey, for whatever's going. Well, I'll catch up with you here soon.
Yeah, call on back, man.
But
try it again. You know, hopefully.
if you don't mind, sorry, I don't.
No, this will be fine. I mean, it's good TV or podcast.
Do you want to keep?
Yeah. So anyway, here's the thing. I'm comedian Damon Williams, and I'm here at the Elevating Beyond podcast. I'm a stand-up comic. I've been doing this 27 years. This guy came to the mall, saw that I was at the comedy club, and decided to come do a thing. So now we've been buddies for the last 2 days. He came and sat through my show, so he got a good grasp of it, of what my humor is, and gave me the opportunity to be here at his home, at his studio. So now, by him being at home in the studio with his wife out of town at her brother's birthday party, he had to answer this call. So let's see what they're talking about.
Okay, so what do I need to do
Hey, for all the married men out there, you understand his plight right now. If he didn't answer this damn phone, there'd be hell to pay. Plus, his wife is black, okay? And you don't want that. That's what you don't want, an angry black woman on the phone. She called you twice. She's out of town.
All right, I'll check right now.
Big luxurious house.
And
you not answering my damn call? You gonna answer my call?
Damon Williams says hi, honey.
Yes. Hello.
We're getting ready to record. It's not on right now. Yes, she says what's up. Damon says what's up. Can you hear him, honey?
Nice to meet you over the phone, and you have a lovely home and a great husband. You're welcome. God bless you as well, and have safe travels back home.
Okay, I'll get on there right now and check for that password real quick.
Right there. See what I just did? I big up Tim.
Okay, sorry, honey, I didn't know.
Yeah, and that's what wingmen do. Okay.
Thanks for continuing.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone, I could edit this out if we need to, but I'm gonna leave it in.
I like it.
And so my wife is getting ready to go take her. We've been helping take care of my mother-in-law, her mom, who grew up in Sierra Leone. She's 94 now. And she came here. We helped her get a heart surgery.
Wow.
She stayed with us, and that's another thing I always say about like going after your dreams. It's not just about like then you're at a point if it magnifies who you are. Like I thought it was cool we were able to do that, and
especially after the story about the kid.
Yeah. And so she's getting ready. Her mom's been staying with us for like 5 months, getting ready to take her back to Africa here soon. And something with a phone that they sent me where she needed the code because they don't work over there.
Okay.
She's supposed to have the password right now.
Oh, wow.
And she's been calling me. And I think I was supposed to get it to her earlier.
You got one more time for me to call home and you don't answer this phone, sir.
So she's like, check your email now. And I'm like, I'm in a show.
Yeah, well.
And she's like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
It hangs up.
Yeah.
It does. I could be with, not that Damon isn't the most amazing dude ever. It could be President Obama sitting here. And
she's
she'd
still
be like,
like,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't care what
tell Mr. Barack.
I need that freaking
hold on for a second and then check your damn
and he
email.
would get it.
Yes, exactly. Of course he would.
I heard you saying not just a white wife, but a
man, he got a black wife. He has to answer that damn phone.
From Africa too. She'll
yeah,
get me.
motherland. You understand? That's right. He don't want that problem. It's too close to the holidays. Answer your phone.
Oh man. You know that? You know what's cool from that? Her family, with us being, she was even raised Muslim. And I remember meeting all her brothers and stuff. This white dude and so many in Philly, New York, and Africa, and they were actually always all like really cool to me.
Oh, good.
And like accepting and stuff too. Yeah.
Well, and
it's been 13 years now. We used to get looks when we were first dating, when we'd go out, from like older white couples or
older black
or
couples.
some black dudes too, I could tell and be like, shh, like
Right.
pissed off. But then you know what? Like I get angry, but then I realize no one looks at us anymore. And I realize nothing changed except I stopped thinking about it.
And
I think half of it wasn't even real. I was like I was probably giving off this like, what are you looking at?
Right.
Some
No,
were probably
you're on edge. You expect it.
It is maybe even
And attracting it by, like you're saying, being. But there were some people looking.
Some were too. But like when it became more, I stopped really caring as much about, unless someone like outwardly really, really, which doesn't really happen.
Right.
But if other than that, I don't really pay attention, and it's like we live. And I guess that's what I'm kind of trying to say to a lot of. If there's something really wrong, of course, do something. But with a lot of it, it's like stuff that isn't right. Complaining about it isn't going to fix it.
True. And perception is important. So now, like you say, you're used to being with your wife and being in public and having people look or not look.
I just don't
so
think
now,
about it anymore.
now it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
But initially, it's like, or in a certain neighborhood, because I've dated, I've dated a white woman before, and subconsciously when I see black women coming, like, I already know they're gonna have to look at me like, what the hell you doing with Becky, And they might not give a damn about me or Becky, or they might be like, oh, you gonna bring her in here, So but that's not my problem. That's theirs.
Yeah.
Right. I'm happy. I'm comfortable where I am. That's your problem if you have a problem with me being happy with the person I'm with at this particular time. And once you get your perception changed, then you start to block it out.
That's right.
Yeah. Like with me being notable, not so much famous, I'm more aware of people observing me when sometimes they might not be, because I never want to snub a person that might be a supporter or a fan. So I try to be like in the airport, certain circumstances, like I'm in the airport walking through, especially Chicago airports, because I'm in there so much, I know everybody practically as far as the workers.
And you're definitely like, you're underplaying it too, because you're like, if after your show last night, I'm even knowing that when we were meeting, like I told them, I saw the fan, because I'm like, they're like, we can bring you to meet with him, and I'm like, I don't want to disrupt, because they paid, they want his, and I know you're putting the time in, so you appreciate that.
Indeed.
But you have people lined up, like they do, they respect it, and they're wanting their pictures, like that means a lot, and that's cool that you're.
And it means a lot for me to do it, to show my appreciation for a person that took their time to come out the house, burn some gas, spend their money, and enjoy the show, and show their appreciation, and wait in line to take a picture. That's why I don't do it.
And there was a big line too.
Yeah, and I don't mind doing it, and a lot of people actually capitalize on that. And I can't say that I'll never do it, but I don't think you should have to pay for a picture for somebody that you already paid to see.
Yeah.
So that whole.
The way
I know I'm gonna get some flack from some of the comments because it's a revenue stream, but to charge extra for a meet and greet, and make people pay to use their own phone to take a picture with you when you could just stand there and take the picture for free, it's kind of bogus,
And I look, and the way I look at that is basically they're giving you free, they're sharing you to their whole, and they're like,
you're expanding your network. It's funny, he was personable.
That's like PR.
All it's important, and it's human. It's humanity. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would take offense to a person that said like, oh, you can't take my picture without paying me first. Then I don't really want that picture.
It's different if like someone is hiring you for a private event, or because even with my speaking, one of the agents I had, and I don't bring up names, they had this whole rider for me, and I went in there and it was like only 15. I'm like, what? I don't care. First of all, no, I don't care if anyone. It gave a limit for how many pictures. No one will interview him for longer than 3 minutes. I'm like, calm down.
Yeah, that standard boilerplate does not apply.
To like the freaking like red and like purple M&Ms or whatever, and I'm like,
and a lot of times the industry people dictate that, and the artist might not even be aware if you don't take the time to read it.
If I hadn't read it, someone would have got that.
So now you're
be like, this guy's a prick. They would have thought it. I would have.
And he's supposed to be all genuine, but then he only could have 15 people in 3 minutes. And, but on your thing, like that would be like if Joel Osteen had that type of clause. And all the people that love Joel Osteen, he's like, I don't want to talk. 15. I don't know if I can curse or whatever, but whatever.
I'll beep it out.
Yeah, okay, but he'd be like, no, don't come in my room. And then the Lord said, and then he's behind the scenes.
The camera's up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, people that are, no one's perfect, and I also get, you got to have some downtime, and it's not being.
You need boundaries.
You can't be accessible all the time.
You need boundaries for sure.
And that's not being a prick. Like
Right.
I can't answer everyone, and that's not. It's just like I got my own life.
And that's
time.
cool. Like if you're not in a particular place where you're on stage and you're the draw, you're the person they came to see. These are people that literally took time out of their lives because they really wanted to see or hear or do what it is that you do. So at this point, you're accessible to these people. Now, if you're eating with your family or you taking a pee in the bathroom and the guy's intrusive, that's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need those boundaries. But on the point when you're in an event and you're the focal point of this event, yes, these people want to see you. Yeah, give it to them.
That's
like
the way
Tom
I
Joyner
look
has
at
a
it,
phrase,
too.
he says, super serve your community, super serve your audience, because it'll come back to you tenfold. Not only that, there might be a time when nobody wants to talk to your ass, period.
Isn't that a
and
true
then
story?
once you feel funny, right?
Yeah.
And trust me, a negative reaction goes around much quicker than a positive review. So if a person had a bad exchange with you or you snubbed them, he's an asshole, blah, 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 and people will share that. I knew it. He seemed like an asshole. That's going out there.
Yeah,
but if
you
say,
could have like a lifelong fan that you don't know.
And that fan could have a network. I watched one of the comics on a major tour snub this lady in an actual meet and greet. We're in a meet and greet, okay? That's what the purpose of it is. They paid extra, or they were corporate sponsors, and the sponsors had a certain amount of employees that had the opportunity to come and sign the program, blah, blah, blah. So we're at the table and we're signing our program, we pass them down. And this guy, the lady wants to take an extra picture or something. He's like, lady, you got to keep it moving. We ain't got time for that. Just keep it. When it takes 2 seconds, click picture. Now, mind you, that might set off a reaction where everybody's doing it, but it's a meet and greet. That's what they came for. And these are the sponsors, people, okay?
Yeah.
So you do that. And then the lady pulled me to the side. She said, look, everybody else was nice and humble, and I appreciate y'all being that way, but he don't understand. I am the head of so-and-so department of so-and-so whatever company, and I can send a mass email to 30,000 people right now.
Yeah.
And he has no idea who he just did this to.
Isn't that the truth?
You know what I'm saying? And you don't not do it because of that, but you still have to be cognizant of the fact that that could be that person. But treat each person like they have a 30,000 email list, and that way you won't have people, saying bad things about you. And it don't take time to be nice. It's easy to just be nice.
It is. And if you screw up, admit it and try do your best to apologize.
Exactly.
Really
Everybody
do.
can have a bad day,
Yeah.
or you could be unaware of a situation. Because I had somebody said something about, I met dude, he arrogant or something. I'm like, and then the person told him
And
told
you
me
may
the
have
story.
been rushing like
Yeah,
into
you
your
never
flight,
know what.
or
Not even a flight. Whatever. So
maybe just got a fight with your
anything
wife.
could be what you just went through, right?
Yeah.
And the person that told me the story told me, he told the guy, he said, nah, man, you got that wrong. That dude is blah, 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 blah. And I'm not blowing my own horn in this situation. I'm just saying it's easier to be nice to people, and not for any ulterior motive for the fact that, you want to build fans. It's just easier.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the key, like you mentioned, the most successful people that I have met, the majority of them, there's some that are like the Mr. Burns Simpsons, but when it comes to business, I met this couple that I worked with that had this $1 billion oil company. You would think of them as oil type, the nicest, down-to-earth couple. They adopted like 15 foster children.
Wow.
They were at this event as like but they were just chilling out, talking. I didn't even know what they did they were like asking me for advice about stuff with my company.
But unassuming and just as genuine
then they
and nice
told me
as
more
could
of
be.
what they were doing. I'm like, geez, I should be asking you. And they're like, no, and they really wanted to learn and stuff too. And it was like, I people that I see really, really winning in like the longer term seem to be, they work their butts off, but they're givers more than takers.
That's another thing. You can never stop giving, man. And I found that out. Even when you don't have, you don't overgive, but trust me, when you give, when you are of service to people in one way, not only have to be financial or whatever, but when you give of yourself to people, it comes back tenfold. And that's been my my testimony, I can tell you right now, because there have been some times when, you know, I could have given up on my situation, or there are times when you be frustrated, like, so, because I've been doing this 27 years, so I've started out with people that have gone on to do major things, big movies, you know, their careers, this, that, and the other, and people always ask me, well, you know, when is your turn gonna blow up? I'm like, dude, I'm at peace with myself. And a lot of people have aspirations even greater than mine. I might need to start dreaming a little bigger so I can go a little higher, but the journey has been so magnificent, and the relationships that I have, and the fact that I've been home in my city and I've raised my son, and we have the relationship we have, and my mother
cool.
can call me any minute. I can go and pump her gas, or you know, shovel her snow, or whatever she might need. You know, that is more valuable to me than any success I might have attained by leaving those things. So when people are giving and you have a bit of sacrifice in your spirit, you get rewarded, and it might be a different type of reward. You know, I mean. I know people that are not here anymore. You know what I mean? They might have been great and big, but they're gone. I'm literally gone from this planet. So who knows if that's not your blessing, the longevity of your life being extended, you know, so.
You never know. I just, my dude, Gary Vee, he was just saying that when someone was saying, like, he's made it this huge to where he is, but he just has always worked his butt off and and they're like, well, do you regret that you didn't take this opportunity and get that? And he's like, I've learned, he's like, I'm not saying never lower the bar in your dreams. Like, what's for you, like, go for it and work your butt off and get there. But some of those, if I miss that, like, for all I know, maybe I would have got on a plane to do that $1 million deal, and the plane would have crashed and I would have died. Like, you never know.
Exactly. Or you know, like with my circumstance, you know, a lot of cats blew up early in the 90s and they're not around anymore. So to have that moment of fame
that's almost
versus
tougher.
Versus a slow and gradual, steady lifestyle that you can maintain, weighing the options, I would hate to be like, for instance, the guy that was on the Cosby Show and then he was working at Trader Joe's. Now I'm using him as an example. But that's what it could be.
Yeah, it's like, it's hard, it's almost hard. You hit that success, then to lose it all.
You plateau and then you become humble. Luckily for him, he was discovered, and hopefully his career is back, and if that's his pursuit. But he was happy, that guy at Trader Joe's, because you never know what comes with that. See, that's the thing.
You never, that's the thing with social media, you never know what's going on.
What comes with
behind
that,
the
man.
scenes.
The people that make it and get so big, and then they end up crazy and running in traffic with waving guns, or you know, in rehab, or you know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff that goes on with that.
That's so true.
And you never know what people have sacrificed.
And isn't it easy to like judge from the sidelines? So many people are like, I wish I had, like you said, sacrifice. They have no idea.
They have no idea, exactly. And you know, like I said, the point I'm making with that is, on the outside looking in, you never know what the backstory is. So you and I have had conversation off camera about some of our history. A lot of mine I haven't even touched upon with you.
That's what I was getting ready to have you. I'm trying to can you start? I'm so sorry. I don't
No, it's okay. I mean, to be a stand-up comic was the last thing anyone would expect if they knew my story growing up. You know, I come from a two-parent home that became a one-parent home, and then my mother was single, and she went bankrupt and had to raise us off food stamps, and we had no heat, and we had no utilities, and we went through all of these sacrifices. And my brother, like I said, went away when I was 16. He was my role model.
To jail when you were 16.
Yeah, and he did 20 years, like I said. And so, you know, to become the man of the house at that age, and, you know, to have to dabble in selling a little weed and doing other little things to make ends meet, just to have the basic necessities to help my moms and things of that nature, to going further into that business and elevating it to different areas, to the point where I became like a mogul in the streets.
Yeah.
You know? But that
and that's mostly what you were around to, where you saw if someone was making it.
Yeah, it was an opportunity.
That was kind of like one.
But all the time I knew, like I said, I had an internal fortitude about myself to know that I'm better than what I'm involved in right now.
Than the environment.
Yeah, and I had a means to an end, or end to the means, or whatever I was doing it for, because I wanted to help my brother get out earlier than he was supposed to, and I wanted to start my own business. Those were my goals for my hustle in the street. So I paid a couple of lawyers and tried to get him out. He was actually guilty of the crime, so he did his time, and that didn't work out. But I did go on to become an entrepreneur, and opened a Subway sandwich shop. At age 25, I had a sandwich shop.
I saw that
yeah,
in your bio.
Yeah, downtown Chicago. So
Oh, man.
I achieved that goal.
That's cool.
And I would have like been in that, but I'm the type of person where creating a project is the fun part, but the follow-up and the follow-through and the mundane existence of being I own the Subway, but I'm still working fast food because I had to be in there.
Yeah.
I'd rather been the guy that opened up 10 stores and sold them to people ready-made,
Thomas.
as
Yeah.
opposed to being the guy at the store every day. You
Yeah.
know? So that's why it really
get
didn't
it.
work out. And I basically, because I didn't want a job. I never wanted a job. You know.
Yeah, you
I
want
wanted
to, like, you got to get in it to learn it, but then you
Yeah.
want to be able to have, and the freedom doesn't mean you work more, even, but you're able to do. That's what I've had at even levels of my company dream. Because I had a friend on my show, he owned 228 Subway restaurants at one time.
Yeah.
Barely graduated high school, crazy.
Exactly.
He was mentored by Dave Thomas. Found out he was a fifth grade, only had a fifth grade education.
See, that's another story where, you know,
But,
if
yeah.
you have a belief and a drive and you're willing to learn and listen, then you can do just about anything.
Now, when you went to do, like, because in a lot of the environment, if you were in, if it's like, okay, my brother's going to jail, and like a lot of people are having money, it's dealing drugs and
Right.
stuff, like, were people saying like, that's a good idea, do the Subway, or did you have some of the negative, like, people like us don't?
No, what I did is I didn't share the idea. I didn't share the thought of what I was doing. I just did it. And
Can you, I think that's important for people.
Right.
To kind of know, either don't share it with because you don't need
naysayers.
everyone to co-sign on your.
naysayers, yeah.
Some people don't do their dream because they want everyone to co-sign, and they're
Right.
gonna. But sometimes you just gotta
no,
shut up.
you gotta have tunnel vision first of all.
Yeah.
When you have a goal set and if it's lofty, most people's mentality is you can't do that anyway. So 8 out of the 10 reactions are going to be, how you going to do that? Or you can't do that, or they don't let black people do this, or, you know, and that can eat at your confidence.
Well, it's already.
Yeah, you already got doubt.
It's
Yeah.
already. The thing is, it's like, you don't think I'm hearing that in my own head every
Exactly.
freaking minute already?
Right. So first of all, you have to conquer your personal fears. Second of all, you have to keep your dreams and your ideas close to the vest until they manifest, because it can be jinxed or be, distracted, or obstacles can form that you created yourself by allowing people to know that this is what you're trying to do. Because some people genuinely don't want you to succeed
Yeah.
out here, for one.
That's true.
And if all your guys are in crime right now and you trying to go legit, now you're better than them, so they don't want you to be that guy because they want to do it, but they don't know how.
They called these dudes I was in the trailer called me a sellout when I was like, I'm gonna start going
get
to
my life
college,
together,
I'm gonna
right.
do something. They're like, people like us.
Yeah, exactly. So you definitely have to keep your move in silence. I put it that way. And then when
Move in silence.
yeah, you got to move in silence. So a lot of times we want to announce to the world something before it's even done. And sometimes it don't come to be, and then they get the chance to tear you back down and say, you thought you could do that, but we knew it wasn't gonna work, blah, blah, blah. So even though, like, if I were to get a role on a movie or a TV show, I would not tell. I wouldn't. When I do.
Let's say if. Let's say when.
When I do.
He's going to.
Because I have a show in the works, but I'm not gonna say anything about it until it's done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell people until it's literally in the can and I know the date that it's gonna show. Because sometimes you could be on a movie set and do 10 scenes and none of them make the movie. I've seen guys have whole screening parties and they haven't seen the final cut yet.
Yeah.
And now you get there and you look like an idiot because you bragging about something that hasn't come to fruition yet. Now that's one side of the story. The other side is, if you don't share your vision with people who don't understand your vision, then you don't have to worry about them tearing down your vision.
Yeah.
In other words, everybody don't dream the impossible. And when they see that you're trying to do it, they don't see it. It's not feasible to them. And so therefore, I had a young lady I was dating before my wife now. And every time I said I was gonna do something, she's like, how you gonna do that? You can't do that. And that was the main reason why she's not in my life. Not because we weren't compatible, not because, we were not fun. She was not a believer. The first time I told anything that I was aspiring to do to my wife, she said, you can do all things.
That's cool.
And when she said, oh, you can do it, you can do all things, a light bulb went on. You know, like this is the person I need to be with because she's a believer in my dreams or a believer in positivity. Negative people are a drain on your
energy
dream. Vampires. Do not let the naysayers. Man, and it's very important that you clear yourself, even if you have to be alone.
Yeah.
Okay?
I got a lot of time like guard yourself. Yeah, you're so right.
Even if you have to be alone, you don't. I mean, it's better not to be the smartest person in the room, and you go further when you have a team and all of that. But if it's your particular dream, you have to have the singular vision and tunnel vision to achieve that. Nobody on earth. I wasn't even funny in school. Like I wasn't even a funny dude, you know. So for me to say I'm gonna try stand-up comedy, everybody's like, you know, and I'm like, yeah, me. Why not me?
People don't know that whatever you do, even if I'll speak, there'll be 1,000 people, and I'm like, sometimes I'm actually more introverted, and people are like, no, I'm like,
me too.
But if I'm talking to someone like you that I can connect with, I can talk, I can go on and on, like someone that's like my. But with some people, with like just small talk, and I'm not on.
Yeah, you're socially awkward at times.
Yeah,
me too.
With like normal people,
I can be alone in a crowded room.
I can be socially,
right? You know, and still
I've
find yourself
been like that.
Yeah, you find yourself not connecting with the cliques or the, you know, like I say, I can feel literally alone in a crowded room because I don't know, that's the introverted spirit. But when it comes time to turn it on, and I've performed in front of 100,000 people outdoors in a festival, you know, and it was no problem.
That's insane.
You know what I mean?
But see, that's the thing is like people think funny is you're constantly doing a set in the cloud. It's like,
and it's
performing
annoying
because you're working it in your head. I know. She should be funny every single time.
I'm not going to be at Wendy's and, you know, cracking jokes in line, you know. Now, if there's something I see funny, I might comment, but that's where my humor comes from. But you know, this is an art, you know, and it's like, you know, if you're a baseball player, you're not always walking around with a bat.
Just
you know what I'm saying?
Pitches. It's so true, though.
So that's with that. But the important thing as far as the elevating beyond is what I'm really speaking on, because I don't even know where my inner drive came from. But like I said, as a young person, I feel like I had a belief in myself that I should be better than my circumstances. And then what really gave me a higher self-esteem is, like I said, I was raised, my mom, I had a dad growing up, but he wasn't my real father, and I didn't know this until around age 11 or 12. But when I did meet and connect with my dad, and he was the lofty person that I saw myself as, genetically I feel like he infused that in me, and I should be on a better plane and a higher level of just being a better person than I was. And that just solidified it for me, you know what I mean? And sometimes it takes that. And that's why a lot of people, when you say daddy issues and father issues, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real thing, mother or father. So you have to be empathetic or sympathetic to people who act like a lot of rappers. You know, a lot of rap songs like, you know, my daddy wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. But they bravado, but on the same token, they crying out because even Tupac, you know, my daddy didn't love us anymore. And Naughty by Nature, never knew my dad, motherfucker the fat, you know, it was a lot of, you know, so.
A lot of times, like, anger is really like camouflaging that
pain.
Doubt and pain, like in disguise.
So,
you're so right.
You know, so to overcome that, though, you have to, like, really self-motivate yourself, encourage yourself. Get as much information about any particular field. Go to motivational speaking, read books about the topic. So if you're a comic like I did, sit in the back of the room and watch the greats do what they do, you know, so that you can have the inspiration and have the information to draw from, because you're not going to know all the answers just trying something. So you got to find people that are smarter than you or more talented than you or as talented as you are, but have been through the thing and walked the walk. I mean, to be an intern on somebody, whatever occupation you choose, is very valuable. If you can sit around and just absorb information from people. To do radio, the Tom Joyner Show, which has been it got me to another plateau in my career. I did that for free for 2 years.
Oh, really?
Literally.
See, listen to this, everyone. I want so many people in this day, they think I should be getting this stuff. And I'm like, there's levels to everything. They just think they'd hear you on that and, you must just be You've got to put in your time,
put the work in, you got to earn your
rest.
stripes. Like Bernie Mac say, man, you got to carry your own weight, pimp. So
it's true.
He told me that. But with the show, man, I started out where I just had a 5-minute feature once a week, every Tuesday. It was called Seriously Ignorant News. It was actually 3 minutes, 3.5, but sometimes Tom, if you roll in, he'll let you go. But 3 to 5 minutes was my segment, and I had to leave my house at 4 in the morning and go into the city, which is about a 20, 30-minute drive, into the hood where this college campus was, just so I can have access to this equipment to
Chicago.
broadcast. Yes,
Yeah.
in Inglewood. And I did it every Tuesday for 2 years for free. Once they decided to make it a permanent situation, they got me the equipment and they put it in my house where I could do it from home. And that was really a blessing. But in the meantime, I had no problem with getting up off my butt and going in, because I knew eventually that was going to pay off for me. And I didn't know I'd eventually end up having a whole shift and a whole day named after, it was Damon Williams Fridays for a year and a half. But I earned that from putting in that work, you know what I'm saying? So don't be afraid to take the short if eventually you have a long-term goal.
Wouldn't you almost say that's the only way that from everyone you've ever seen that has got
most chances
they
are
mostly,
you have to pay your dues.
They're grinding behind
you gotta
the
pay
scenes.
your dues,
Steve
man.
Harvey, everyone.
Everybody's paid dues, and a lot of times that's why when celebrities get to that point where they can have a writer, the writer is so demanding, because you've done the grunt work. You don't want to put up with nothing that's not a creature comfort, because you've earned the right to say, okay, let's limit how many people come back here in this green room and talk to me. Let's limit, how much, what type of food I'm eligible. I don't want to have to just eat off the menu. I want specific things, because I'm doing this 50 weeks out the year.
And I can understand,
So creature comforts,
that.
you can understand.
Yes.
The eccentric things with the colored M&Ms, that's an example, or just red Skittles and all that. That's being an asshole.
Yeah, you're right. It's a difference
right.
between that. Like with my stuff, with my speak, when I'm going out, I need more of the first class because my legs are long. But I'm like, I don't do it because I'm first class. I'm like,
right. No, it's creature comfort.
Run my company.
If you want me to arrive fresh and ready to perform my job at my ultimate level, then I need to be comfortable getting there. Now, I still fly Southwest. I don't fly first class because I earned enough points where my wife flies free. Now, eventually, I'm going to have to upgrade my lifestyle from that, but I don't mind.
Like in the country, like if it's out of it,
Domestic,
that's why I'm more like, especially if I have to go and come. I did the bed one, but on.
Oh man, I look forward to one of those.
Yeah,
one day, really
but not all. But I'm not like I had. But that was more like, because I had to come back from the UK. I had an event, and then I had to come back and work the next day. I had a
and
whole
plus that's a
compliance
long
review
ass
for my
time to be on the
company,
plane.
and I'm like, I'm gonna sleep. And
if you're flying from Columbus to Detroit, then you'll be what you need it for.
It's not the same.
But going across the country or across the pond, or that's, trust me, when I walk past those beds, I'm like, I'm supposed to be up here too.
Yeah.
So that's my inner, self-esteem saying I deserve this as well.
Yeah.
But my point of the matter is, a lot of times people have paid so many dues and they've taken the short and they've been in the crummy hotels. Like, that's one thing I will not tolerate, is where I lay my head. I'm not going to do the Motel 6s and the lowercase. Now I'm in a Courtyard Marriott right now, which is a nice hotel. As long as it's clean and upscale, it ain't got to be 5-star and have room service.
It's still really nice there, though.
But the creature comforts come with the game. Now some people will not. They got to have a 5-star and blah blah blah. Give me the money for the 5-star.
Yeah,
let me book
true.
my Courtyard Marriott, and I'll keep the change.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I'm just a simple guy. But and it depends on if I'm traveling alone or not. If I have my wife, then I want to, of course, take it another level up so she can have the luxury things that take place. But it's not. It doesn't define who I am.
Man.
Yeah.
I do the same.
I'll answer. Let this phone ring, and it's my wife. I'm gonna answer my damn phone. Y'all be on hold quickly.
That'll be the rest of the show, both of us.
Exactly. So let me see what baby doing right now. In fact, she did text me. Look, thank God you put my account balance. Apparently, oh wow, glad I could do that, baby.
That's cool.
Yep.
See?
Yep. And that's important too. Relationships. Don't lose your important people chasing your dream.
Amen.
That's another thing. You got to have balance.
Yes.
You want to be singular in your vision. You want to be tuned in and tapped in, but you can't sacrifice your relationships along the way, because when you get there, you'll be alone and it won't be as meaniful.
What's the? They have to understand there's seasons where it's like, look, I'm in a grind. I'm gonna be doing a book tour. I've even explained this to my kids, but there's going to be an end.
Right.
It won't be like this forever.
Exactly.
Because I met one dude at a speaking thing. He's a billionaire now. I'm not going to say his name.
Okay.
But he was like, I got to a thing where it was like my wife and my kid or my company, and it was like, this is what I'm building. And to me, and he was saying it like in a way like, and to me, I was like, man, like my heart broke for. I was like, wow, that's sad, man, that you think
but that's the reward.
It's different if you're in a toxic relationship or something. That's different, but it's like you don't have to cut out you can have your dream, and you can level up your family.
It's balance. You got to have balance in anything. Like
and it's
I said,
constant tension. Doesn't mean you won't have fights.
And there are
times.
I'm
in one right now.
Hey, dude, if you need to cut for a minute. But there are times when, of course, you're going to miss important things that you have to sacrifice for. But a lot of times, like with my son, he played basketball his whole elementary through high school, and he understood, or he pretended he kept a brave face when I would miss a game or two. But whenever I was home, I was there. And if it was a weekend and I had to choose between paying for the school that you're in versus being at the game at the school, I got to go get the money for the school. So senior night, though, he told me way at the beginning of the season, look, I know you be working and you're doing your thing, but I just have one request. I need you to be there for senior night. You know, and I was like, okay, no problem. I said that whimsically because I was thinking, well, if it come up and it's $5,000 on the table, I might have to go get the $5,000. Thinking that. Well, it came up, and I had a big show. I was on tour with some more, and I called the promoter, and it was like the day before, the day before I was packing. He's like, where you going tomorrow? Senior night. I'm like, nah, dude, I got it's a big one. It's a theater. It's not just a club. And he was like, nah, but he never asked me to sacrifice stuff like that. But I could see in his face the pain of. He's like, no, but I asked you I said I really want you to be there. Yeah. So I called the promoter, and this guy, he's kind of a dick, in this game. And I'm probably alluding to who he is by saying who I was on tour with, and I don't really care because he is.
We're not mentioning the actual name.
But it don't matter.
No.
Anyway. It was interesting, though, him being that person he is. I called him and I said, man, I know this is last minute. I know this is bogus as hell, but I can't do the show tonight or tomorrow night, whenever it was. And I'll find you a replacement locally or somebody, or I won't, but I can't come. And he said, well, what's the problem? You got a contract. I was like, well, it's senior night and my son requested I be there. And he melted. He was like, 3 of my daughters played sports all through school, and I understand senior night. And he let it go. He didn't give me the money, but he didn't say, in fact, keep some of this money and I'll get somebody cheaper because I understand your deal. He's like, well, just don't make it. I get somebody cheaper and put that money back in my pocket because that's the type of dude he is. But at least his humanity kicked in. Cut off. Yeah. He didn't penalize me for that. And he's the type of person that's kind of vindictive where, well, then if you can't do tonight, you can't do the rest of the tour type guy. But that reason. Man, that's cool. And senior night was beautiful. And my son scored a lot of points, and they called the parents out, and all the other students had both of their parents, and they presented them with them, and he had a gift for me and all that,
That's great, man.
And I wouldn't trade that for $10,000 or $100,000. Yeah. Looking back, because you're gonna spend money, So any person that sacrifices loved ones and relationships, like it's by choice, like it's a conscious decision, then that person is eventually going to pay for that in the long run from a karma standpoint, or just from being lonely and not having nobody there for you when you really need somebody to love you because you abandoned them. You don't have to abandon your people. Like I don't see my family enough now, but they understand because I'm out here trying to get to this next level. And when I'm home, I take time to try to make time to at least go see my mother, go take my father out, hang out with my wife, make sure I check on my son who's already too busy for me now. So now it's flipped. I'm like, son, you promised me we'd go to lunch tomorrow. Oh, Pops, I forgot. I had a thing and I didn't even think about the thing. So
you have to be like, remember senior night?
Right, I'm gonna hit him with that. Hey, what about senior night though? And play some little music in the background. Bloom, 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 bloom. Senior night.
I turned down out of it.
I turned down senior night for you. You could skip your little seminar. No, but I'm really happy. My son is an amazing kid, man.
How old is he?
27 now, and his Instagram is Damon _AF. I just want people to look because my son's been profiled. When he was a kid, his mom had him involved in the stock market and investing and learning, financial literacy. So he was going around as a spokesperson and teaching like courses about, just the ABCs of investing. Oh, nice. He was on the cover of Investors Weekly or something like that. And that was not his pursuit, but he was doing his mom had put him in it, and but he was very good at it. Yeah. His idea, his dream has always been to make our city better, which is south side of Chicago.
That's cool.
And changed the dynamic of our city. So now that he's an adult, he's not pursuing capitalism and not going, he's a hippie now. He's bearded out and he's got the long hair and he's doing his thing, but he's very in tune with people's humanity and trying to be a social activist and help his people and help our community.
Nice.
And do things of that nature. And now he's starting to hit his niche. And he was, tell you about the social media, he was almost in a state of depression trying to live up to the expectations of that video, because the video is viral. He got about 6 million views on one of them I saw, and it's all over the place.
What was the video?
It's called 14-year-old investor mom. It's this 14-year-old investor, Damon Williams, because his name is Damon as well.
Okay.
And it was this thing where he used to want to be a sneakerhead, but his mom was like, if you want to wear Nikes, then you got to have Nike stock first. You need to own part of the country before you give the money to the company, blah, blah, blah. So that's what motivated him to listen to her, to learn these things about financial literacy. And then he became adept at it. And like I said, he was very verbal. He can articulate, the things, the different stuff I don't even know about, like dollar cost averaging and PE ratios and things of this nature.
Yeah.
So it was amazing to
especially
people,
at that age.
and to be a young urban black child, speaking on these terms to adults who didn't even know these things. Well, now if you look him up, and he's done poetry and he's done. When social activists come to Chicago for any type of seminar or meeting, his place, the Breathing Room, is one of the stops they make because they've heard of some of the exploits or the things that they're doing, and his knowledge of the topic and his pursuits for helping. And he has a podcast too, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it's called Ergo Radio. So I just want to shout my son out.
Ergo Radio, yeah, for sure.
So those things, for him to become the valuable person that he is to society, I wouldn't trade an HBO special for that. You know what I mean? Now, if I could have had HBO special and he was
still
that's win-win. I shall. HBO, Netflix, all that's coming, and it's all coming soon because
I believe it.
I think I've put in the work. I've done good work for a long enough time, and I've established myself. And it's really just finding a believer or two. And I found a believer in a network that's being launched. It's called Urban Flicks, and they literally handed me the keys to a stand-up show. It'll be a stand-up comedy show plus a sit-down interview with comedians. And a lot of comedians that are my friends that are super famous and have deals with Netflix and HBO, and they can't do the stand-up portion, they have agreed to sit down and do this part.
Okay.
So each comedian that does his set will have a mini interview, and that'll be their introduction to the stage. But at the end, it'll be a full-blown 7 to 10 minute talk with some of the notables. I can name names, but I'll just hold on to that because, like I said, keep moving silence.
But it's working hard on something.
Yeah, more than likely we'll be shooting that right now, tentatively the end of January.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's on the horizon, and I'll come back and we'll talk about it once it's in the can.
Heck yeah.
Like I said, we'll talk about it when it happens. But that guy who runs Urban Flicks was like, "You're my guy. I believe in you."
Come up there and do a show up there with you.
Yeah, when we're doing the taping, you should come.
Yeah,
that way you can catch a lot of behind the scenes people. Yeah,
and then we'll blast
as soon as
it
it's locked, I'm inviting you out.
I'd love to.
You heard it here. Yeah.
Well, I'm down.
Yeah, but unless you're in England or somewhere, or Sierra Leone.
I'll make time for that, man.
Yeah.
No, I love doing getting that real life stuff, and then not only getting it out there to all the audience, but I just I see being around the right people. It's gonna make me happy to see this coming true for you,
right?
Because I know you've been doing 27 years.
27 years in a row.
And I love seeing people that put in the time. It makes me so happy to see people succeed. It doesn't make me blah blah blah
right. No,
I like it when people put in the time and they I think it's awesome. You keep going for it.
You gotta be steadfast, man. And all the young comics out there who think, all right, I'm funny, I got a standing ovation, I made people laugh, I should be on Letterman right now, or not Letterman, I'm aging myself. I should be on Kimmel, or I should be doing Madison Square Garden. You gotta take your time, man. You gotta put the work in, you gotta be patient, because sometimes you'll get those opportunities before you're prepared for them.
That's right.
And if you don't succeed when it happens, that might be your only shot at something like that. And once people discard you, it's a long road climbing back up the mountain.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes your character isn't. Maybe you got the success. But your character's not ready.
Right.
Then you're just sabotaging your marriage.
Stuff like that.
That's why when people look at these 19-year-olds that do blow, like Justin Bieber, I'm like, dude, that little kid's been in the spot. how would you handle?
Right.
I'm like, that's insanity to think like, man, I'm 17-year-old. Every girl is just like throwing.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to. So it's almost like sometimes.
At 70, I wouldn't be able to take them throwing it
No,
at me.
I know.
You know what I mean? So
sometimes it's like a blessing.
Yeah.
That it's holding you back because you think you're ready on every level.
You want to be prepared, and if I blew up, in the 80s, late 80s, or
and I'm
90s,
not saying not to go for it.
right?
But
Yeah, but that's when like the HIV and AIDS was still around. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? I'd have been sitting here now.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I'm
though.
just saying that the pitfalls and the trappings.
It's real. That's real.
You
talk,
really have to
though.
be
But
prepared.
in all honesty,
when your preparation meets opportunity, that's when it's divine. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of glad, that I've been on the journey that I've been on, and like I said, I've been able to still manifest a good life for my family. But now it's time for to reap the benefits, and for me to be able to kick my feet up and pick and choose my dates and a little bit more, and be more
That's right.
exclusive on how much work, and I can choose not to work versus having to work to maintain.
Yeah.
That's when you start sacrificing, moments. So I have.
Got it.
My brother has 3 kids since he's been home, and I don't have a relationship with them because I'm moving around so much. And like my great nephew that lives right with my mother, I see him scarcely, and I want to take more time out and plan family gatherings and be able to afford to send for my whole family and just say we're going to go to an island somewhere, or we're going to go to Hawaii or something like that and do it. But I still got to put that work in to be able to do that. So I'm right there at the cusp of being able to,
right.
share the benefits and also still have something left for retirement, which I never plan to retire, but you don't want to work all your life
and have nothing there.
And look up and nothing there. Plus, even people that love you will love you more if they know they can benefit from loving you. So, you know what I mean? I mean, it's easier to get people to be around your sick bed if you got $1 million in the bank versus please bring me a plate of food because I don't have no money, So, and that ain't even being funny. That's just life.
No, it's true. But and also that pushes you. Like you could tell you're genuinely saying, I want to do this and hit this other level, and I want to be able to share it. Like
I
want to
do it for my
that
my
pushes
people,
you.
man. Yeah, exactly. Because I
could be getting yelled at sometimes for
having labels.
Well, it helps them, but people have been like, get that off there if they're not sponsoring you. I had what's his name, great dude who was the coach with Phil Jackson for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Oh, what's his name? He's the man. He played back in the day for Cleveland. My friend that owned all the Subways introduced me to him. He's moving back here. He's won
Is he black or white?
He's black.
Jim Clemens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you know?
It just came to picture. I'm thinking about the coaching staff, and I know Jim Clemens kind of went with Phil as he went along.
Yeah.
So it's a gift.
Jim Clemens, that's who he's. I've met him a lot. He's a good dude. It was with him when I met Les Brown too.
Okay.
Through my friend Greg, who owned all the Subways. But I was at a thing in California with him, and he was doing, I forget what he was doing, and we were making some video, and he was holding like a Starbucks, and his wife was like, took that out of there. She's like, get that out of the thing. And he was like, well, she's like, Starbucks isn't sponsoring you.
Right.
She's like, they're not paying you no money. He's like, all right, honey, take it.
Slow
And
down,
him and I were just laughing, but he's like, yeah.
But that was a wife
She's
being on
real
her
about
square.
that. Yeah, she was on
That's
point.
true. And then sometimes, you have to blur out a person's logo anyway if you don't have approval for that. So she also could have been protecting him from that as well.
That's true.
I mean, people like free advertising, but if you notice most of the like on logos on shirts, a lot of times when you do TV, they'll blur it or they tell you no logos, no anything. And you would think I'm giving them free advertising, but if it's not approved free advertising, they might not be in line with your views or whatever you're saying. So they need to be corporately protected. So
hey, if enough people are paying attention that I get that from them, cool, man. That just means
that's press.
I'll take that first warning. I've had a couple things with things that we've added in or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, we can switch that. But
so let me grab that water right there if you don't mind. Yeah, because if we're gonna be, branding stuff. It's my wife's favorite water. If anybody
that
there,
is good.
If anybody over there wants, send me some over here.
Hey. I'm opening some mid-roll spots up for the good stuff too. I'll have to say though, like just the way they make the bottle, and they're not paying us. I just respect the way they made the bottles and everything look.
Yeah,
Well done.
Everything is branded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get to the nuts and bolts of the situation.
But yeah, so well, first of all, just we've talked about it a lot, like, I appreciate connecting with you, getting in touch, and it was awesome. I'm not joking, like, and that's why I always, if I'm gonna have someone here, I like to see you perform and stuff too, because
I'm
you
glad
did
you
great.
came too.
It was awesome.
Last night you picked a good show too. That of the three, that was the better energy.
It was cool.
Even with the little guy that was interrupting me, but that's part of the game. And
I like how you flipped it.
Yeah, you got to have tact with that.
So, something that I kind of want to end on is, I think, and when I say end, the part 2 I'm going to be doing in Chicago, because not only if, but when you make that happen, because I already know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to give up.
Nope, it's going to happen.
That's not in you.
This is going to, the show, the taping is going to be in LA. I tried my best to make it Chicago.
Oh yeah,
too.
LA good,
They
it's warm.
moved it. Yeah, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want
we'll
Chicago
have
in
60
January.
million, we'll meet up with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Pop up on his show out with it. But where was I going? Oh yeah, and I'm not going to mention anyone's names or anything. I was just thinking about us talking about a certain person, and mentioning and like the art that the person does, whether it's speaking, being a comedian, and when you can see in them that it's like they're doing it, but it's not in their spirit. It's not in their soul.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to know anything that we're...
Right.
That is fascinating to me, because it's like, you can see... Because I always say, like, don't give up.
Right.
But, like, I don't even know where I'm trying to go.
I know what you're saying.
But
it's a person
maybe that's when someone doesn't make it to the... Maybe they're going after the wrong dream.
Or no, maybe it's the right dream, but you've given up on it being any greater. And so you've accepted and you settled at the plateau you're in, and now it's no longer the dream, it's an occupation. And when you see a guy on stage,
and you can
any
see
particular
him,
guy,
like,
just going, plowing through his jokes, paint by numbers. It's like, I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna tell these jokes, I'm gonna get my money, I'm gonna go home. That's not the art. That's not doing it with your passion.
And you can feel the energy that they're, because there's days you're first of all, one thing is, don't ever just go by your feelings. I hate when people are like, if you're doing what you want to do, you're gonna feel it. No, there's gonna be days where you're like, I don't feel it, but you're just like, you're going to meet up with these, you'd rather just be kind of chilling in your room, but you're you're responsible for.
I'm reciprocating the support I receive,
and you're happy to. Yeah,
and I'm doing it, because out of love, because they show me so much love when I come to this town.
And your heart's in it still.
Absolutely.
Like, you can tell that.
Yeah. And your performances should be that way too. Yeah. I hate to see a guy you can see he's dead inside, but he's on stage.
And when you see them behind if I'm with someone behind the scenes, it's sad, because you can feel it. It's almost like
there's a lot of depression and a lot of alcoholism and suicide in comedy. I don't know if you noticed that. Because first of all, they say most comedians have some type of insecurity or some type of flaw, and that's why they seek the validation from laughter on stage. I got into it because I really loved watching comedy. I saw Eddie Murphy Delirious, and I was like, that's what I would like to be doing right now. When he had on the red leather suit, that special changed my life, period, point blank.
That's cool.
But also, once I got involved with it, and then I started to do it for a living, like when I used to do colleges, colleges have less substance when you're performing for college students, back in the day especially. It's kind of just doing a show. But the joy that they received, because they used to watch Comic View, and you come out and they give you that, you're like, okay, cool, that's the validation.
So that keeps you going.
But the follow through is the sheer pleasure that is taking place when a group of people hear one thought, and simultaneously they all explode laughing at it, right? It's just like with you, if you give a speech and you nailed on a point, somebody asked you a question, and when you answered that question, the light went on in that person. They're like, thank you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's gratification.
It is. Or like with a show, like when someone writes me in the show and they're like, man, when you guys would talk about that, and Damon said he was wanting to open his first thing and couldn't tell. I'm in that situation right now, and he gave me hope to know.
Exactly.
That's like, I'm like,
that's the
it's not
payoff.
about the spot. I'm like, because I know it's all. I'm like, that's what it's all.
That's the payoff.
That's what it's all. That's what keeps me going.
And see,
but when people lose that,
yeah, it's sad to see, man. It's sad to see. And you gotta find a way to remember. So like I could have easily, like, you know, I'm sick of getting on these planes and staying in these hotels and eating the same menu at these restaurants and, you know, traveling. But once it's time to do the thing, you know, the behind the scenes can be mundane. But when I know next up they're about to call my name, even when we were in the back in the green room, right like 5 minutes before, I could start to feel the anticipation of them saying, okay, let's go. And then once I get out there, you tell that first joke and the people laugh, and they now you're looking at couples, you know, high-fiving each other, and you got people, you might see a person that's there by themselves. Every once in a while people come to the comedy show by themselves. Yeah. And you know, that's a person that really needed a laugh today.
That's right.
You know, that person, you know, tell them what. I've had people give me testimonies of situation where on the radio or in person, that particular thing, they had just lost their mother, or they hadn't laughed in 6 months. Or one guy told me he had PTSD, and me and J. Anthony Brown were going at each other on the radio, and he said that morning when you and Jay, he gave me a specific morning, we on Tom Joyner Cruise, he was sitting behind me, and he was so glad to be sitting, he tapped me, he said, man, I got a story I want to share with you. I don't want to interrupt you right now, but he told me, he said, that morning, the two of you all going back and forth each other, joking, came between me and the bullet.
Wow.
He said, I was in the verge of killing myself that day, and I turned on the radio, and you guys had me laughing so hard that I didn't.
That's amazing.
So he kept trying to buy me drinks, and because he was living life now. He was on a cruise. He was like, man, thank you, because that day I was my darkest day. That saved me, and now look at me now. And I'm happy. I'm my wife, and I'm on this cruise. So let me buy you a drink, and whatever for the rest of the week is on me. And I'm like, no, dude, I ain't do it for that. But the fact that you never know how you touch a person.
Yeah.
But I know that we have that power in this industry, in humor. That's why my humor is not dark. Now, it might be a dark subject that I might joke about to bring the light from it.
Sure.
But I don't. There are comics that do things that are demeaning and degrading, and and intentional. To be, negative, and and that's fine because they still find the humor in it. But that's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it because I love, so I like having company. I like having people around. And I don't do it enough. But when it's time to do a family gathering, it's usually at my house, because I want to see them interacting with each other. I want my young nieces and nephews to know their cousins better and, just have that experience. And so I'm a facilitator. And that's what this comedy does for me. I'm just doing it on a larger scale, and I get to go from city to city. And I come to each city once a year, most likely, because I want to not oversaturate the experience and have new material when I come back. That's the other thing. There are some guys you can tell that they've given up on the craft. They're doing it for an occupation, and so it's the same shit. It's the same set. And you can see the guy 3 years later,
and it never changes.
Verbatim.
Wow.
And if you're standing there saying this thing like a robot, then there's no passion in it. Now, I do the same jokes from city to city, but I'm not doing them in the same order. I'm not letting it, it's not a robotic thing. It's based on what I feel the audience will receive. And I'm not saying I'm better than any comic like that.
No,
I just would hate to be that guy.
You're sharing that's what I'm and it doesn't have to be anyone going after anything that loses that. And I think something that you said helped. I was going to answer almost like maybe there is someone listening that is that I've lost, and it's to remember those things like you just said, the person that told you like I was about to commit suicide,
man,
and that's we have to remember like
you
don't get to give
purpose.
up.
It's
bigger than you, whatever it is.
It is. I mean, even if whatever you're doing, like you say, if you run a daycare center, it might be one kid that needs your attention because something's going on at home, and you might be the saving grace for that circumstance. It can be any occupation or any passion that you have, especially if you have a passion. If you follow your passion, you're bound to be successful if you dedicate yourself to it.
That's right.
And then, like I said, the proceeds and the whatever you're doing it for will come. I had to tell my son that because, like I said, he had reached a level in his life where he felt like he should be more successful at something. And most people were expecting him to be this wealthy investor by now, being a millionaire. And so the money that he amassed during his investment, because he used to do commercials and stuff like that. He's a real charismatic kid. He was earning his own money, and that's what he was used to invest. But then it was sitting in this account, and he wasn't really into that anymore. but he was scared to spend the money because he felt that represented failure because the money is going to be gone because he didn't become this mogul in investment. I'm like, man, you earn that money, spend it.
Yeah.
You know, or at least use it and utilize it for a purpose. That's what
Enjoy
it's for.
some of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it wasn't like $1 million, but at the time he was 14 and he had like 50-something thousand in his account. And so a lot of adults were like, I don't have 50,000. You know,
exactly.
And that was based on his earnings. I mean,
Cool.
He literally, like, he was in the movie Road Bounce. And a couple, like a Bounty commercial. He did a Nike Air Jordan commercial with Spike Lee, and so he had these residuals and these proceeds coming in. And but I'm telling you what mentality is, and expectations, and you know, you got to find your passion. So I told him, you know, don't worry about what people think, who you should be in the expectation. What do you feel like is your passion? And I told him, once any person finds their thing, and they dedicate themselves to that thing, you're gonna be good at it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna succeed.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and it may bridge to something else that has to do, like, where that passion meets that talent, but you like, no one knows the how.
It takes you on the path.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You just keep doing it.
Yep. So
you keep doing it, and I want everyone to know too. I post on Instagram, but I love the respect that Damon has when you were you doing your last radio show?
Yeah.
When they were when Common was calling in.
Well, they were calling in for Tom. He was receiving the accolades. That was it was all the people that called in to support him. But you happened to stumble upon a clip where I got included with that because Common's from Chicago. We both started our careers the same year.
Gotcha.
He started in '92, so he was calling in to congratulate Tom Joyner for his retirement. But in the course of that, he took a moment to say, "And Damon, I want to tell you too. We were just talking about you the other day. You one of the funniest guys out here. You dope, and I just want to take time to say that before Tom goes off the air."
That's
so
awesome.
I received that from him. But all those other notable names that we were talking about, those were people calling in because Tom Joyner is a legend.
Yeah,
he's a giant.
Yeah.
You know, and he's done so much for students and education and his charity, which kept historically black colleges, HBCUs, open and operating and giving scholarships to students. That's his passion.
Got it.
Everything he did, all his foundation, everything went toward that. So that's where all these people, they love him, and we love him because of his efforts. And he's another kind, generous soul.
That's cool.
But he also reaped the benefits of being that kind, generous person because now he's sitting on a fortune and he's on the beach in Miami doing his thing.
Yeah, but you're been working with all these people, and they're not going to have you work with them if they didn't see
absolutely
the amazing potential in you, because it's not like you've been on these little stages and stuff of everything that you've been doing. Just like you were saying before the beginning, just to even be in the spot of being considered to be getting up at the Apollo, like anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a magical ride, man, as far as part of it's because I was based in Chicago. A lot of times, if you're someplace and you don't feel yourself thriving, you might have to leave that place to get better. You know, so, like, if you're in a small market, first of all, you should conquer that market. If it's a small market, you should be one of the first 5 people. When they say, who does comedy in Cleveland? They should be like, you, so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. That's your first goal. Then you go out and you pursue other opportunities so that you always have your home base to come back to. And people in your hometown always treat you with more respect when you go away and do bigger things and come back. Now, you don't have to necessarily leave the city to be gone. I'm always gone from Chicago, but I live there, and people don't see me. So when I am home, if I put a flyer up saying I'm performing at home, it's like I came home because they see through social media, of course, that I'm always on the road. But my point of that is, you got to get outside of your box, and you got to take a leap of faith. You got to step out there. And sometimes, in performers' sake, like singers and comics, I can talk to you about this. Rappers, because I used to rap back in the day. I had an album. My title was Gucci D. That was my name.
Really?
Yeah, you'll see it on Instagram. But my point of it is that whole doing it for free. If you're a comedian, get out of town, get in your car and drive 4 hours in one direction or another, and find a comedy club and do a 5-minute free set. You know, set it up, of course. But now, if you do well in that set, these people are your new fans. Then you give them your social media. Then eventually they'll start requesting you to come back because they want to see more. You know, but it might have cost you $300 to do that.
That's right.
You're not gonna make the money this time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta put in the effort. Then you come back and you reap the benefits. But you gotta expand yourself. And people, young people right now, or young in any industry, you have the beauty of social media.
That's so true.
Even if you have to pay for your post to get spread, it's worth the investment because
it's way less than paying to have a commercial on TV.
You can touch the world through this social media. So that being said, so a lot of people ask me, well, what do you suggest to a young comedian coming up in the game right now?
No, that's
Work
good advice.
your social media, dude.
Yeah.
You have your own network. You have your own TV show. You have your own radio show with a podcast. You don't need the corporate structure to make it.
You don't, and I tell people this, you don't need all, I love that I've been able to get, but I did my first episode in my car, and that got like close to 1 million listeners over to the audio, but it was the genuine. Yeah, you don't need all the fancy. Just start with what you have.
That's all I'm saying. You got to start where you are and work what you have to get to where you want to be. It's just that simple. And right now, it's a golden age of opportunity. We had to wait on television networks to say, okay, we're coming to Chicago and we're going to pick the best of the best in Chicago. We're going to give you a shot and put you on TV. You don't have to wait for that.
A radio spot or something.
You don't have to wait for that. You can do it yourself. You can make it happen from where you are, but you want to expand, you want to go around, you want to network with people who are in the same thing that you're doing. No matter what it is you do, you need to network because opportunity comes from opportunities, and that's based on you meeting someone who can tell you. You need to be in a room full of people that are doing what you want to do so that you can do what you want to do. It's that simple. You can't do it in a bubble.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And you were saying before too, like you have to earn your way to get there.
You got to
don't have the mentality that everyone should just respect you.
And nobody's going to help you like right away.
Yeah.
To be honest, here's the thing.
You got to go kill your own lion, show them you can kill it, throw it down on the table.
And they love to see it once you're winning. Winners attract winners, and they want to help you then. It's like, where were you when I was, sleeping in my car?
Exactly.
But you have to go through those times.
They come and show with their bare hand, like, boom, I did it.
Exactly.
Then it's like, all right, respect.
So, but here's the thing, like, people will give you advice, and people will steer you towards certain opportunities, but until they see you actually going for it yourself, then they're not going to really do it because they think you're looking for a shortcut. And most people that have paid their dues it's almost to the point of being bitter about it, like, because there's no way, I went through all this and I rode through Greyhound, and now you're going to just jump on social media and become famous and make $1 million. So some of them have that sort of, resentment. Or another thing is, it might be people you started out with and, y'all all started together and one person gets there. It's not that person's job to bring you with them. Now, they might throw you a bone because they decided to or they're benevolent, but don't expect that. Do not sit around and wait on somebody else to throw you a bone just because you knew them coming up. That's not how this works. Everybody has their own path, and like my man Bernie Mac said, you got to carry your own weight, pimp. And that goes for anything you do in life.
True.
Yep.
He always tells about the grind behind the scenes.
Oh my God. Before he even did Def Comedy Jam, he was probably 10 years in the game, and I mean working, bar and grills and places where comedy wasn't even expected. I remember one story before I was even thinking about doing comedy. Bernie was it was this big social party where like the elite and the movers and shakers of the young people, we was all in there, dressed to the nines. It was at a big downtown hotel ballroom, and the party was swinging. One of the most popular DJs was playing, right? And they stopped the music, and we was like, stop the music. All right, right now, we're going to hold that up right quick. Want everybody to gather around, grab your seats, because we got a very special guest, comedian Bernie Mac in the building. And they put Bernie up, and nobody wanted to see it because the party was like going on. It's like, y'all stop the party, you get the party to here, and like, now it's comedy. They're like, so people are like, we don't want to see this. So literally for the first 20 minutes, it was just chatter. Nobody was listening.
Wow.
People were like, he was literally bombing, like for real. But I watched him, and I wasn't even thinking about doing comedy at the time, but I was a student of comedy. I just liked comedy since I was like a kid watching The Tonight Show. He stayed right there in his position. He told his jokes. He sat down for a minute. He just started just telling his stories. And eventually 2 people was listening. Then 10 people was listening. And before you know it, the room was quiet, and he was doing his thing and killed it. And that's a lesson. That was a lesson for me.
Goosebumps.
Man, to see him persevere through and conquer that space and then triumph at the end, it was amazing.
Because it could have gone either way, and
it did. For like 20 minutes, it was the other way.
Even if it didn't, he still would have finished.
And comedy.
I respect the fact. See, let's get in the arena and get, like Tyson says, like everyone has a plan. You get punched
in the face, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so he took the punches, he took all the shots in the face, and he came back and he knocked out the crowd. And I said, wow,
I've never
that
heard
guy,
that story.
That guy is, and I didn't know him. I'm like, that guy, he's cold. Because I didn't want to hear it. And I'm a comedy fan.
Yeah.
But girls walking around in short dresses and we drinking champagne and chilling, and man, everybody wants to see that right now.
And he just isn't stopping.
He stayed in that thing, man, and he stood. This is way before Def Comedy Jam. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Period.
Some dude's up there in the middle.
Trying to make us laugh.
And he's just not stopping.
Man, and look where he ended up. You know what I'm saying? He
that's
never.
Why.
Yeah, he never gave up, and he got there. And he was the last one of all the four kings to get a TV show. And he said it like, they don't want to give me a show. They scared of me. They scared I might say something. But it's all right. My time will come. And he said that on the Kings of Comedy to the camera, like, give me a shot. I promise you, it'll be worth it. So. Respect, R.I.P. Brother Mac, man, and that's just more inspiration for anybody that's trying to do anything. So I don't know how long this podcast can be on, but I am having a great time just sitting here talking about this stuff, man.
We'll wrap. I appreciate it. This has been amazing. I'll probably make this maybe a two-parter. We'll see. Okay. But everyone, I'll have all your links in the show notes. Okay. Make sure you're following on Instagram, everywhere that we have. Catch him anywhere he's performing.
Please do, because I'm going to hurt your face. When I come, I don't just do jokes. I try to hurt your face.
He does,
too. Physically leave in pain, your stomach. And I got that from seeing Eddie Murphy live twice.
Oh, wow.
I was a comedy fan, man, and we went to see Eddie Murphy. One was an outdoor venue, and outdoor comedy is hard. It's trickier because, comedy is intimate, and you need the sound and the feedback. Killed, he murdered it. And then after that, he blew up and he did this big arena in Chicagoland area. But when we left that show, man, it was like, stop, like, please give us a minute. My face was on fire, my abs were tight, and I said, that's hurt your face funny. And I said, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta get to a point where I'm hurting faces. And now I get comments, my face still hurting from yesterday, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's a blessing, man.
I was trying to get some clips, and some of them you hear me, I'm laughing so hard, and you can't even hear what you're saying.
That's the key. That's important. So if you see me in your town, come holler at your boy, because it'll be worth your time. Trust me.
Look him up. We'll have all the links. Is there are you active on one more than the other? If you want to just name it.
Instagram is Damon Williams Comedy. That's where I'm most prevalent, because my Instagram is connected to my Facebook, which is Damon Williams, of course. Then on Twitter, I'm trying to get my tweets up, because I found out that the industry respects Twitter followers more than they do Facebook or Instagram.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
Twitter's been.
It's crazy, but like CBS, I did the talk, the daytime talk show.
Yeah.
I got on there because I finessed my way from being a viewer calling in on Skype.
Yeah.
And then I told them what I do, and they was like, okay, we'll have you come in. I became one of the panel top talkers, right?
Okay.
So that was in 2014. So 2015, I'm like, it's been long enough. Maybe I could try to get back on. Well, their criteria had changed from just being on an affiliate, because I used the Tom Joyner Morning Show as my affiliate. They said the affiliate that you're connected to, or you yourself, have to have 1 million Twitter followers to be on that show. And I'm like, I've never had that many people on Twitter. Because I'm not on it that way.
People can buy followers, and
they can. But I think right now Twitter, the Trump effect is big, because he is on Twitter, and that's drawing attention to that site. You know what I mean? And not just his supporters. People that hate him on there is just as much. And that's a whole weird thing. But so I'm on Twitter. Needless to say. My name is Damon William, no S on the end, because somebody had my name already, so I just dropped the S, and so at Damon William. But Instagram, I'm on there all day, every day. That's how we met.
Yeah.
And I follow, and I return all my DMs if I can, and I follow back. I didn't know you can reach a limit of following people. Like, you can only follow like 7,500 people.
Oh, really?
And I'm at 74.99 every day.
Yeah.
And then when I get over 74, like 75.05, they won't let me follow anybody.
It's not being don't worry about it. Someone doesn't follow. Just connect with people I just look at it. If you want to connect and get awesome stuff, don't overthink if someone follows. It's not on. People write me that. I'm like, I didn't even know you were.
Exactly.
I've got so many,
you got a stream of followers.
They're not even trying to,
So it's cool. But anyway, follow this guy, because this is going to be on my social media too. And follow out. And you'll see all of that somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be popping up. Looking all kinds
bling. All right. Thank you. And thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Never settle. Never give up.
Hey.
Keep elevating beyond. Awesome.
I like that. Never settle. Never give up. Yes. And drink Dos Equis.